Nitesh, go. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us on one more episode of the SIPCHAT. Today, as we move along in our journey to the different regions of India to meet some of the stalwarts, we come down to the southern state of India, Tamil Nadu, the city of Chennai. And it's my privilege to interact with Professor A.G. Dhandapani. Dhandapani qualified as a physiotherapist in 1973. He started his career in Tamil Nadu in the Tamil Nadu Subordinate Services under the Directorate of Medical Education. He then moved on to NIRTAR in Cuttack as a head of the program. Returning back to his hometown, he worked as a professor and the principal of physiotherapy at the Ramachandra University, the deemed to be university, Porur, Chennai. He was a recipient of the Student Fellowship by the Government of India, which is known as the Colombo Plan. And he moved in 1990 to United Kingdom to be one of the earlier colleagues to train in manual therapy. He served as a CEC member of the Indian Association of Physiotherapists for 2 terms. He has been a member of the Board of Studies and a visiting professor to several universities.
Yeah.
Sir, you can switch on your camera, please.
Nitesh, are we ready to go?
Yes, ma'am. We are live now.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us in one more episode or one more edition of the SIPCHAT. And today in our journey, we are moving to the southern part of India to meet and talk to Professor A.G. Dhandapani. Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, Savita. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing well.
How far you gone in Corona? You are safe?
We are all safe and hope the same with you.
Yeah,
you look well. You look well.
Thank you.
Can we begin our little conversation?
Yeah, sure.
All right. At the outset, I'd like to ask you, could you tell us a little bit about how you began your journey in physical therapy? Where did you complete your physical therapy education?
Yeah, I did my diploma in physiotherapy. I did my diploma in physiotherapy in 1970 at Government General Hospital in Chennai. Those days it was known as Madras.
Right.
So it was a 3-year diploma program. I have completed in 1973. Prior to that, I did my pre-university program in Uris College, Vellore. Then my high school studies were at Government Higher Secondary School, RD, which is famous for silk sarees.
Oh, okay. Right. One question that comes to mind at that point in time, why did you choose physical therapy?
I didn't choose as such because it was not my choice as such. My father passed away in 1970, and one of my cousins who was working in Government General Hospital as a radiographer came for the condolence, and at that time I was waiting for my admission. So it was the month of May. So he suggested to apply for this, and eventually I applied for that one, and I got selected as such.
Okay, so it was like somebody suggested it,
Yes.
and then you said,
Yes.
why not? And then you moved on.
Yeah.
So what was the reaction of your family and maybe your friends when you said to them that I'm joining a course called physiotherapy?
Well, our family is a family of teachers. My father, my 3 brothers were teachers, and everyone felt happy and excited that I'm going out of a teaching profession.
They didn't know you would come back to it in the long run. It runs in the blood.
Yeah, eventually it has happened after 7 years of my, after 7 years of joining the program in Chennai as such. So nobody knew what is physiotherapy. Even I didn't know what was the definition of physiotherapy, etc., etc. Eventually, gradually, I came to know the whole thing about it. So they were happy in a way.
Uh, what are your early memories of some of the early pioneers in physical therapy at the program that you did and where you worked in Chennai before you moved to NIRTAR? Some of those people.
Yeah, sure. I would say Mr. Vittal Rao, who was our chief physiotherapist and lecturer in physiotherapy at Government General Hospital, was the father of physiotherapy in Tamil Nadu. I would say down south. Because those days, next to Bombay came hospital. Chennai, Madras was the second school, and probably Nagpur or CMC Vellore, which is the third, I do not know. So altogether, there were only 4 schools of physiotherapy. So out of which Madras Physiotherapy School was the second one next to Mumbai. It was started by, as I told you, Mr. Vittal Rao, who was a male nurse, but was deputed by the government of Tamil Nadu to go to UK to do his MCSP, along with one Mr. Narayan and the next person. So 2 of them went to UK, did MCSP, came and started the program in 1959.
Right.
And the first batch, most of them were trained nurses who took opted for physiotherapy. I could remember that one Madam Mary Chidambaram, who was my teacher, was the only candidate, a non-health professional, that is not, she wasn't a nurse. After completing pre-university, she came and joined.
So she was one of the first persons who came in and joined physical therapy directly.
First batch.
Right. Do you remember which batch you were?
Mine
Yes.
is, I believe it is 13th batch. Because it was batch. And first, initially it was 2 years program up to 1968. Then 68 upgraded to 3-year diploma program. They joined the 3rd batch of 3-year program.
Right. What are your early memories, or when you look back and reflect, for physical therapy practice then to physical therapy practice much later by the time you were in Ramachandra?
Oh my God, that's a vast difference in everything, right from our syllabus or the course content, the way of practice, and the way of documentation. It's a lot of difference as such. In those days, in down south, I'm referee. We were doing actually what is written by the doctors, and we are not allowed to document anything except put the date, right? Electrical stimulation given, exercises given, sign. That's all. No more documentation. My documentation started when I had been to NIRTAR. Gradually it started, and it became very strong after my training in UK.
Right.
From 1990 onwards.
So since you've mentioned NIRTAR yourself, I'd like you to tell us a little bit more of what made you move to NIRTAR in Cuttack. I do know it's a national institute, and how did this come about? One additional question, because last week we had the SIPCHAT with Professor S.S. Rao. So was it an overlap at the same time, or were they in different time frame?
Almost overlap, but I can just, first part I'll answer you, how I moved from here. See, in if I'm right, if 1995, 96, or say 85, 86, there was a program collaboration with the United States of America, regional rehabilitation training centers. There were 5 centers organized by the Government of India under Ministry of Welfare. Presently, it is referred as the Ministry of Empowerment, Women Empowerment and Child. So that department, that ministry started 5 training centers, regional centers, for which they advertised for assistant professor in physiotherapy, bar occupational therapy.
This was in 1985, 86?
Yes, 86. So none of us applied from Chennai as such. And our director, Professor I.S. Shanmugam, went as a selection committee member. He has to select somebody from, I think, probably from Nagpur, an occupational therapist. And he gave he was a little bit upset with all of us that we never applied for it. Eventually, the next year, 86 early or 87 early, an advertisement came for National NIRTAR, asking for assistant professor in physiotherapy with a qualification of diploma or BSc degree. Then I just applied through proper channel, being a government servant. Then I attended the interview, got it. That's why I went to NIRTAR as such.
And was it around the time when Professor Rao was in NIRTAR, or he had left NIRTAR by then?
He left NIRTAR. He was there as a senior, as a physiotherapist, and probably it was like 83 or 85, I'm not sure when he moved from there. He went and joined as a senior physio in NIOH, I believe. Then this advertisement came, and I expected him for the interview, being the same sister concern. I thought he may come over to NIRTAR for interview. I think that last week he was mentioning that his application was not forwarded by the authorities because they wanted to start the program at NIOH. So eventually, probably it's my destiny to go to Orissa for some years.
I have something to ask you relating to your period at NIRTAR. You mentored and you trained quite a few batches, and it must be really, I would say that you had a lot of alumni today from NIRTAR who have done extremely well for themselves. They may be all over the world, but what comes to my mind are the ones who are in India, like Deepak Kumar, Sanjeev Jha,
Yeah.
Manish Arora, AJ Sinha, and of course PP Mohanty.
Yeah.
So here's a little bit of a twist in my question.
Okay.
Did you see that they had the potential to reach where they have reached today when they were students? Or did you at that point in time think that they were a set of troublemakers?
Well, it's very difficult. See, any teacher would like his or her student to become good in their profession as such, but we don't put a yardstick that they should go to this level or whatever it is. But these people whom you mentioned behave like any other student as such, because students are always students, and we teachers or faculty members are always faculty members, and they behave like a students, not in as little trouble. At the same time, they were very, very respectful students. I would say that the first 2-3 batches, they're very, very respectable because most of them came from Delhi and North India, and NIRTAR being in the remote village, they found it very difficult to accommodate. So they were very cohesive and they were very friendly with each other in both occupational therapy as well as physiotherapy. So in that, Mr. Deepak Kumar, I never thought that he will come up this level, but I thought he will be one of the torch runner because he innovated a small thing as finally a student, I believe, a crutch with a torch, because NIRTAR, there are lots of amputees who used to walk in the dark as such. So he simply attached a small switch and a torch so that the night they can walk with the light. So when he presented it at one of the conferences, I believe the conference was either Delhi or Mumbai, I don't remember exactly. So he got the first prize as such.
Can you remember this?
Yes, I do remember, because that was the first prize as such. And the second one, he was the first one who started the mobile physiotherapy in Delhi. I never heard therapists can start a mobile physiotherapy. So like that, they had their own ideas, and these people came up in their life I feel that it is that hard work and sincere work. I'll put it, the credit goes to them, not for me or this thing, because
But most of them have excelled very well in musculoskeletal physical therapy, manual therapy to be more precise. And I think somewhere in the earlier times, you were one of them who did enter. So would there be some influence of what they saw you do that and made them move in that direction?
could be. But as a students, they are very squeezed by me as such. I would say my attitude towards the student.
You're very tough. Everybody
Yeah.
says that. All right. You're a disciplinarian. I won't use the word dictator, but you are a disciplinarian.
That's
And that
because,
tough exterior. So
yeah.
even today they say they are afraid to talk to you.
It's not my problem as such. That's because I was trained by Mr. Uttal Rao, who was from defense.
Right.
Madam Mary Chidambaram followed his footsteps. And I worked under her for more than 7 years or 8 years. So that aspect of punctuality, discipline became part of my life.
Part of your life. Okay. You then moved on while being at NIRTAR to go to England to undergo a training in manual therapy.
Yes.
And maybe I think to be precise, 1990, those were the early times, as Professor Dastur had mentioned in her SIPCHAT, that people came forward to understand manual therapy. How did this come about, and what were your learning experiences?
This is under Colombo plan. Every year, all the ministries used to depute somebody to get training. That's the agreement between Government of India and Government of UK government as such. So on that, every year people used to go. So the chance came that year for the physiotherapist. So when I applied, I got selected. Government deputed me. It was a 9 months program, and right from my early days, I was very much interested in manual therapy, handling the patient with manual therapy. So I opted for manual therapy. Of course, it was only a training, not a qualification.
Right.
When the option was given, I underwent modules of Maitland, modules of McKenzie, and module of Syriacs. So I got the basic principles in every individual program. Then I started applying the thing.
So you really got trained in quite an eclectic
Yes.
practice of having all the three.
Yes.
I remember attending one of your training courses, and I must say that
I didn't know.
yeah, other than Ms. Dastur, one individual that I will always remember that can hold the cervical spine in such a beautiful grip
Okay.
is probably you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. What point in time did you start getting associated with the activities of IAP? And how did you manage to bring your conference to NIRTAR, Cuttack?
Okay. Again, this question takes me back, years back. So after completing my training in UK, when I came down, the next year the IAP conference was in Hyderabad. So many people bid for the next conference in 1994, precisely, to be precisely. So it was 1993 in Hyderabad conference when myself and Ravi Narayan Das, who was my classmate in physiotherapy, who came from Odisha to do physiotherapy in Chennai. So both of us decided to bid for it. And there was usually pros and against of places came, and I could hear one voice from the front row. I didn't know who was that at that time. Later on, I came to know it was Madam Dastur. It is in Cuttack. I would like to see what is in NIRTAR. So when, like this chat sometime back, when I asked what you made to say that one, she said that in the early 90s, 91, 92, 93 onwards, people from NIRTAR went and did PGDMR in APMR.
Haji Ali, Mumbai.
And in conferences, as I mentioned earlier, Deepak Kumar got a praise and few students got praise here and there. So that made her to have, that gave inquisitive for her to go, what is there in NIRTAR?
Right.
Yeah, that's why it was Madam Dastu's decision at that time, but I didn't know who was she.
Right. I think at that conference also, it was which was a tradition then, the elections were on and
Yeah.
you were the election officer when the conference was on at NIRTAR. And I also remember you telling me, when we ever talked of the IAP and issues, that as an election officer, you were taken to court in the 90s, early 90s. You want to share some of that and think, yeah. Can you share that with us?
It was a little bitter experience, purely to my mistake as such. As an election officer, I am not supposed to tell the results as such.
The results to the contestants directly. Am I right?
When I was sending the selected contestants in front of Professor Mukashi, I wrote elected unopposed.
Right.
So that was a mistake of mine. I didn't realize that one because I was not having idea about election officer, etc., etc. So somebody instigated one of the junior physiotherapists from Safdarjung Hospital and filed a case in Delhi court, and I had to go to
Delhi,
Tisazari court, and I had to go 2 or 3 times to Delhi to attend the case. Finally, it was Madam Belasethi interfered and made an amicable decision so that we settled out of court. So that's it.
So that's history. So we were used to going to court from a very early age. At that point in time, and a couple of years later, you decided to come back to home base and you returned to Chennai, and then you joined the Ramachandra University. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when I was in NIRTAR, few years, whole family stayed together. That is, with my 2 boys and my wife living there and their education. Then, because of the education, they had to move to Vellore, and I was staying for few years alone. Then my elder one came to completed his higher secondary. I think I decided to go back to Chennai, or to come back to Chennai to take care of his studies. So the family circumstances made me to come back to Chennai. And after coming to Chennai, for a year I was working as a clinical head or chief physiotherapist at Apollo Hospital, Chennai, main hospital. At that time, Ramachandra was looking for an academician with experience. And one of my students, Mr. Raghu, who is in US now, who was the first physiotherapist, who was my student in 1982, first batch of BPT in Kekanagar.
Right.
He happened to meet me and informed, and he made made us to meet each other and talk. So they observed me at Ramachandra.
I think that, it's not usual that you can have people at that point in time have the opportunity of starting 2 programs, academic programs from scratch at 2 very prestigious places that stand out today as well as centers of excellence, I would say. And I think there is some credit to your contribution to that.
By God's willing, and I was blessed, and I attribute this one not for me as the colleagues worked with me and the students, of course, because the colleagues and students, they used to toil with me. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, I used to be very strict and nobody liked it, but still I could pull on the programs in 2 places. But I made those 2 institutions on the map of India.
True, very true, very true. And even at Chennai, you had finally graduated students like Dr. N. Venkatesh and Shivakumar and so many of them who today have taken the reins and really riding it high. Ramachandra is one of the premier programs that all of us acknowledge uh, literally as something that stands out
Thank
in a
you.
melee of a lot of programs. Tell me one thing. While you were at Ramachandra, what made you want to go and complete your bachelor's degree at that point in time? And how old were you then?
I was 50.
Okay.
Yes, I was 50, and it was not administrative compel that I should complete my bachelor's program as such, because everybody knew that I was a diploma holder, but my teaching experience and my position of assistant professor in NIRTAR, all those was there, but there was no administrative compulsion. But when Ramachandra wanted to start, they had an idea to start the postgraduate, that's MPT. People from outside start talking about diploma holder, how can we start a PG program? Well, that put me a little bit to this thing. Then I said, at least I must become a bachelor program. At the same time, there was an opportunity, the last batch, to do a bridge course under MGR Medical University, which was my old institute. So I did that.
Right. And so, how long was that program for?
It's a 1 year program, one year bridge program. Yeah.
So, were you on a sabbatical or you had to ride both the boats?
Both. So morning I used to go to KK Nagar, clinicals and classes up to 2:30 or 3 o'clock. Then used to come to Ramachandra, at least take one class for an hour, then see some administrative work. At that time, one Miss Lalita Venkatramani was a postgraduate student from Mumbai. She was working here, assisting me, and she helped me a lot that 1 year. So after completing extra hour work, I used to go home. So I read both as a student, and I used to come there to do administrative work as well as take classes. And another one interesting in this period, within 1 year, there was a proposal to have memorandum of understanding MOU with University of South Australia. That also was signed when I was doing DP.
Right. And what was that collaboration for?
Unfortunately, it couldn't take it off because there are certain conditions what they lived, it was not, we couldn't accept that one. So then afterwards, we didn't take it up.
So I think as a trade, you've always been a lifelong learner. When you were in NIRTAR, you wanted to move on and do manual therapy.
Yeah.
When you were in Ramachandra, you felt the need to learn and move forward. And so you graduated out and moved into getting a bachelor's degree. And so what is it that you that drives you to want to keep learning? Or what's your philosophy on that?
It's passion for the profession.
Right.
Passion for the profession, that's all.
And that nothing will stay static, and if you don't upgrade, you'll be left behind. Yeah. A little bit of a twist again, I'm asking you. You've been a part of IAP with 2 terms as a CEC. You were also a part of the Board of Academics, which we had at that point in time for undergraduate.
Yeah.
Why do you think that IAP ran into different times, I would like to call it? What's your perception on that?
Okay. Well, if you could see, up to 1990, the number of physiotherapists in India was very limited, handsome, very limited. And the population of physiotherapists were meager. What happened in 1990, there was a mushroom of College of Physiotherapy down south, primarily, and many graduates came out, and it started in Bihar, in North India, Gujarat, etc., etc. So the number of therapists, when they came out, and when the population blows, the control or the ideology will not be the same. When the ideology will not be the same, naturally there will be groups will be formed, and when two different ideology people it happened, there is some disturbance in the organization. Probably, I think that is the thing. It's my perception. It's nothing else. It's my perception. So, two ideologies. Though IAP was purely, it was a scientific body. It was meant to be a scientific body. Slowly, the ideology has changed for claiming many things. Probably that is the reason. Or the people could not be controlled, put it this thing, because of too many people joining together. It's my perception.
When during your tenure while you were working, you were one of the very early persons who was often invited as a visiting faculty to different universities in India. You know, the coin of calling visiting faculty, we started to hear it around the 90s
Yes.
or a little bit after that. And most often we would hear you were one of the names that were visiting. Did the manual therapy be one of the reasons that showed the way, or did you think the networking that one did was what worked? What's your opinion on that?
There are two. One, as you mentioned, is a manual therapy for which I've been called by many people. And the second one is in early 90s, as I just mentioned, mushroom of colleges came and the depth of faculty was there to start with. So they used to call the visiting professors to complete the program or to make their program popularity. The people used to call the senior people as such. So that could be the reason that I was called by many universities like Mahe, Manipal, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, and of course, it was a surprise for me when I was called as a examiner by Bombay University. I think no South Indian at that time was called for that purpose. Or could be because of that, I think. First manual therapy, other one is the breadth of people. Now nobody calls because everybody, people are there with the post-graduation, PhD, etc. Now that opportunity is very, very less.
Coming to a much personal front, what made you encourage Gopal to take up physical therapy, your son? Was it his choice or was it a suggestion from you?
No, it's his choice. His choice. Because when we moved to Chennai, after completing +2, he got admission in BSc Computer Science in St. Joseph College, Trichy as such. It was one of the prestigious colleges. At the time, I was with Apollo Hospital. So when I joined in Ramachandra, just I asked whether they can give me a seat for him. At the time, there was more demand for getting admission to BPT. So I gave the choice to him whether he would like to continue there or join BPT. It was his choice.
Right. And you're happy with his choice?
I think we are happy with his choice and he performed well as such. And though in my career, I taught more than 2,000 students, full-time students, not weekend courses, itself, full-time students. He has asked me any clarification only 3 or 4 times. He was on his own.
You must have been a tough dad also. He wouldn't have been able to come to ask you questions.
I don't agree that one because 7 to 4 I was a physiotherapist or physiotherapy teacher. Then 4 to 7, I'm a father.
Right.
I'm a husband to my wife.
That was on a lighter note.
With that, he himself studied and he could become a gold medalist. Out of 19 subjects, he got 17 subject first mark.
Right.
4 years and he was a gold medalist. So
Right.
Definitely happy.
What is it that you want to say to those who are out there listening to you, or for this generation of physical therapists, that your experience has taught you, that what would work for being in this profession?
I may take a few more minutes in this one. First of all, when we started the program, when I started the program to different places, and the initial thing was framing the curriculum. That time we used to refer to it as a syllabus, now it's a curriculum. And particularly at NIRTAR, it was very, very difficult because myself and occupational therapy senior physiotherapist, Mr. Sunil Mukashi, who used to sit late night to drafting the syllabus. So we never knew about education technology, curriculum development, etc., etc. We were really unaware in 1987 or 86. So we used to sit and refer all the 3 or 4 Bombay University, NAPOL University, Madras University at that time, and Medical University. So we made a masala of this, really masala of this. But keeping the thing that the theory versus practical is always 1:2 minimum. So we gave much emphasis on practice, on skill development. So unfortunately, what I feel, again, my personal perception, after the program became the university program, the component of art is being neglected or forgotten by the faculty. It is unfortunate. Theory, they're very good, excellent. They can compete with any medical graduates. But skill, people should develop. I feel that skill is the one. Number 2, they should have a passion for the profession. If they don't have passion, they cannot excel. These 2 points I would like to mention here because you asked.
Thank you so much. I'm really very honored to have known you all these years. Given the scope of your contribution to the physical therapy profession, you come out as a very humble person, and it's really been a pleasure to have you as part of our SIPCHAT. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Savita. Thank you, Nitesh, for your efforts, and thanks, SIP, for this one. And I must I take this opportunity to thank all my colleagues who work with me and students who tolerated me all these years. Really, I feel I never had a chance to tell this anywhere except I use this platform to thank each and every student as well as my colleagues who worked with me. They tolerated. It's very difficult. I know. It's nothing not against any individual names. It is the what I expected is punctuality and you do your duty properly. That's all. Nothing personal as such. So I would like to thank each and everyone, and I thank Almighty for giving me this opportunity to chat with a person like Savita. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sid.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Here, vote.